Daryl, catch your breath. I hear you, pal. It's 10:17 on the West Coast time. It's the 1st of January 2024. And you know me, the Weaver, John C. Roseman, California. Yeah, I hear you, pal. What you talking about? That son of a... That sorry son of a sea dog. An orange gas bag. I mean, there's a lot of polite things I could say about the thing there from hell. Saying what he's saying about everybody else, and he's playing out trying to scare people. I think it's a major scare tactic at this point. I mean, if we already tried to vote him out back in 2020, I think there's still, and I gotta hope for this one here, my friend. I'm just going through. Not that one. I didn't want the Tehachapi. Why am I wanting Tehachapi for? Okay. I gotta get back in that one. I'll get to your link so I can start taking a look, see what the hell is going on here. True Social. I don't touch it with a 10-foot pole. I don't. But the other links. Okay, so if Russia is trying to do the Trumplican stuff, we know that he's connected with Putin. We know that he's an autocrat. He wants authoritative power like every other power mad egomaniac. And if this guy is going to be coming after people, bring it on. Said before, I got nothing else left to lose except my little dog. And after that, everything else is just things. I'll regret it. I'll feel the pain. But that's about it. I'll lose him. That's it. You're going to throw me out in the street because I'm going to be saying something about him curtailing the U.S. Constitution? Hey, gas bag, Trump, 45. My door's right over there. Now, you schmucks are going to have to bring in a search warrant, or at least trying to do a health and welfare check, or some kind of legal maneuvering over here. But the only thing I got to tell the Trumplicants who follow his lordship, what you got to do to me? Kill me? Put me in jail? For what? That means we're paying it under taxpayer, aren't we? Public taxpayer prison? Which means I'm going to be dependent upon a tax-paying situation here. Who's going to be throwing me in what jail? For what reason? For speaking my mind? For following the U.S. Constitution, which this orange gas bag is determined to break apart? And those who are still, quote unquote, loyal to him are just brainwashed fools and idiots. They want to think that they're Christians following the Christian method. Well, I hate to tell these assholes and asslorettes here. Shall we get a little nasty on this one? Okay, we'll tell these schmucks that they don't know their ass from a hot rock when it comes down for the Bible. Even the preachers and pastors who keep coming out there with these weird ass churches out there saying, we know what Christ is going to say. He's going to condemn everybody who's liberal and democratic and following the U.S. Constitution. It must be God we must be following. Say hello to the damn Dark Ages. And again, I said it before in my many videos, I blame the voters. They want to be ignorant. They want to be stupid. They're being presented on YouTube left and right. They're showing their lack of ignorance and lack of understanding and concern for this country and its well-being and for the rest of the globe. Now, yeah, we have to focus about our national situation here. We have to. And yes, we do have people coming over the borders illegally, and they're trying to escape the authoritative regimes in their own countries. Why else would they be coming over here? I mean, why else would Latin America and other countries trying to get into America? We already got overcrowding in a lot of our cities as it is, and we're struggling like crazy in our quote-unquote open cities. And yes, they'll still try to make room for them, not to mention the rest of the homeless, and they're going to be ticked off as hell about that one, not to mention every other NIMBY out there. But guess what? Welcome to the new century. Century of chaos and confusion. Am I inviting trouble? Well, we already got the trouble here, my friend. We already got the trouble because we already had it sprung up and grown up. This generation that we're dealing with here came up from last century, the latter half. So now we got to deal with this generation who is the me generation. Nothing for you, but everything for me because I say so. Complain about elitism here, but guess what? We're demonstrating it. And we are. We're demonstrating it. We're also demonstrating that we're dumber than dog shit because we refuse to learn things. We're not skeptical. And we're dealing with the modern age, dark ages here. The priests and pastors will have more control over everything. We'll have another global empire, as if we don't have enough empires as it is. My own viewpoint. It's not that I'm promoting all of this stuff. It's not that I'm pointing my finger at people and saying, you will listen to me and you will obey me because I say so. Well, my question to myself is, who the hell am I? A fool and idiot. Do I want people following me? I'm scared enough. I got enough issues right now as it is. So now I gotta have people following this neurotic fool and idiot who's seeing things in a different way and seeing things how screwed up they are and going to college system to understand the basics of things that I hadn't understood a long time ago and didn't get a chance for me to do so. I mean, I screwed up education because I didn't have the willingness to do so in the first place. I had a different weird ass attitude towards education when I was growing up as a kid. I mean, yeah, I learned stuff to be, spat out and wrote, tested out in Scantron paperwork, fill in the bubbles, maybe do an essay if I was lucky enough to write something. You get into the collegiate system, the land of academia, the first steps, the community college, and they're practically calling me dumb as hell. When I have to start out from English basics and math basics all the way to the current level I was at before I got kicked out, at least they had those records on their transcripts. And those transcripts, 30 some odd plus years later, helped me to get into this particular community college I've been going for the last several years. And understanding more and more about stuff I hadn't read about or hadn't even come across or stuff I've heard, but I wanted to know more of the basics, more of the understanding, more of the background stories, more context, more perspective since I got older, mature, and kind of got settled down where I can actually learn a little bit more and understand it and try to apply it because I had practical things happening to me in that time period. So yeah, they probably call me elitism at this point over here, but the thing is, how I got into the college over 30, 35 plus years ago in that time range, I worked my ass off in part-time jobs. And Ma tried to help me out with a little bit of payment here, but I still had to work my ass off for it. I worked. No grants, no loans. I worked. I worked and I saved while I was going to school. I dealt with second or third hand books, marked up, highlighted like crazy, sticky notes and pieces of paper folded in between the pages. No photocopying machine, just handwrite on notebooks left and right. These days, everything else is so damn digital, it's scary as hell. But, that's what we have today. And now we got the chat bots and AI is at it, so that's even worse, I think. Because we're not using and stretching our brains out. We're not stretching out our creativity or our imaginations. No, we're copying and pasting everything, so we're not learning a damn thing. But if we are understanding what socialism and communism is, could we at least go to the author of the book and read his megalomania on how a social structure he had it created that created the fear and stigma in everybody over the past 100 years or more? Could we at least understand that crap? Before we had the World War I, we had Marxism happening. We had communism happening. A little bit of communism in the United States. And people were afraid of the damn thing. For what? We had the Constitution we were trying to follow like crazy, and we still had amendments. We could make amendments to update it or not update it. We had our wars, our differences. We had Part 1 and Part 2. World War I was Part 1. World War II was Part 2 of the same damn crap happening in Europe, which expanded over to the Pacific. And we had to deal with that one, unfortunately. And then we had to create an industry, an era that we're still reaping and sowing at the same time, and still, oh, we're so in trouble. We're so in trouble. And the political system. Shall we talk about the political system? We're in the 40s and 50s. They were so afraid of the damn communist scare. It was reported that Patton, with all the forces he had available, he wanted to go to war with Russia. Because Russia was turning into a communist state or a socialist state. Turning into a Union Soviet Socialist Republic. A place where you have very few select people running the country. Are we going to be having that one as well in our country? People they freaked out about it. And when Russia started developing their own weapons, because they had scientists who actually copied and pasted, or actually got the other scientists well and copy and pasted the nuclear, actually the atomic, and then the hydrogen, and then the nuclear. China had to get involved. Every other damn country out there becoming in the nuclear club. So how do you like that one? You wake up in the morning and you hear this alarm going off, and it's only a test. But sometimes you're not quite sure if it's a test or not. And then you hear on television during those days that you had the hearings going on because we must find the anti-Americans out there. We must find the communists. And we destroyed Hollywood for it. We destroyed Hollywood for it. Part of the communist or socialist ideology is equality, getting rid of capitalism, getting rid of freedom and liberty. Oh, no, don't focus on the freedom and liberty, but capitalism. We can't make money. We can't be elite in that fashion. How dare you? And they're un-American. Because this isn't America. America is capitalism. Basically, it's manifest destiny. Think about it. Imperial. I'm sorry, we got the imperial lines going through our damn veins at this point over here. We had it from Europe. And they're damn conquering things. Shit, left and right. We had empires left and right. This is the reason why I studied world history. This is the reason why I studied Western civilization. This is the reason why I studied U.S. history, California history. Now about Black America. If I can study also Latino, I'll be getting their particular perspective too. Perspectives, context, understanding, learning, terrifying, scary. It contradicts things. Oh no! Our preconceived notions of what the world is supposed to be. And now you're telling me something else. I can't deal with it. That's it. We declare war on learning. We declare war on books. We must turn out to be Fahrenheit 451. Bradbury will be avenged. We will take every learned book out there And the universe that we have, and we'll burn it because we'll force our own damn preconceptions down people's throats. And this is America, the land of the free and home of the brave. Yeah. So basically, we got that running around. We have that mentality running around. And yeah, I keep seeing it being replayed over and over again. The box never shuts up. And yeah, Trump is one of those assholes is capitalizing on it because he's a mobster of sorts. Mobsters love power, they love money, they love control. They're egomaniacs, they're megalomaniacs, they love crime. Crime is everything. The Constitution is bullshit. If it can protect them, they'll use it. If it can't protect them, they'll rally against it. This is why you study history. This is why you go into databases. This is why you go into books, old dusty books, to read periodicals, to see this kind of stuff. Understand. Understand it from other autobiographies out there, because they always have a kernel of truth one way or another in there. Flavored, skewed, colored, but there's a kernel of truth in there. Different perspectives. I'll say it before in my other videos, dude. White light of a topic, but everybody else is not saying the same thing. They're all looking at their own viewpoints on the topic. White light passes through a prism. What do you get? A spectrum, right? We can only do the visual. Beyond that, you have the radio, you have the ultraviolet, you have the gamma. You have many viewpoints, much like we have many viewpoints regarding our own religious beliefs. What our texts tell us is always the one source, but everything else around it different. There's a story in the Old Testament there somewhere concerning about, what was it, land of Canaan? Tower of Babel, if I'm not mistaken. Now, why the hell did God do that in the first place? I would never quite figure that one out. Tear the whole place apart, not just keep things the way they are. Unless, of course, God's got a burr up his ass, or actually the guy who's writing the story had a burr up his ass. And seeing that God had a burr up his ass, that's why we had things destroyed. Or people started talking in different tongues. I had conversations with God on this one. I'll still have conversations with God on this one. Talk to him as a human being. Talk to him like I'm trying to talk to you. Yes, I give him all the reverence I can. But I still talk to him. It's the only way I know how to relate to him. I noticed that some people, a couple of comments that you've been coming across, that they would prefer you doing recovery because that's the only thing they matter. A perspective. But you said it before in your other videos, if I'm not mistaken, that you're also political, just like me. You're a liberal. You're a liberal Democrat. Of course, there's also something called moderate, and then there's also conservative. And there's also these other neo-terminologies that they keep using in the higher elites. That's why I'm not going up there. I'll stick with community college. I'll stick what I know and what I can understand and deal with, because I don't like snobbery. Deal with reality. Deal with a reality check. Deal with what we could see on our level and how it's being affected. Besides staying up in their nosebleed sections, you don't see what's happening down below. But then again, I probably missed the viewpoint of what the whole big picture is. I'm so focused on the minutia, it's not even funny. But this, yes, it does scare the hell out of me, Daryl. It scares me. Because now we're dealing with a reality check here. How are we supposed to handle this? And Trump's capitalizing on any chance he can. He's getting his limelight through being prosecuted. He's going to play the martyr up the hilt. And because he thinks he's got, and he probably does, uh, a lot of support because they bought and paid for in this bullshit. Can I bring up my science fiction example again? Jack Palance on the show of Buck Rogers in the 25th Century with Gil Gerard and Aaron Gray. Planet of the Slave Women was the episode, the first season. Shall I tell you the story about this one? Just a little piece of it. Okay. Jack Palance was one of the villains in it. They had another actor from Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea played Chip Morton. I keep forgetting what this guy's name was. But he played the henchman to Jack Palance. And Jack Palance was this charismatic, popular guy. Much like Donald Trump. Except Trump didn't have the glowing hands. But he could command people because he had the glowing hands. And when he touched you, people collapsed and died. They collapsed and died. And then the people who were following him are like, Khalil! 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 Both in fear and in reverence. That's what we have right now. We have fear, we have reverence. And that's basically what we're dealing with. Now, during the time when he was running for office and also when he got in office, how many evangelicals actually switched to him? And what? I don't know, something about this damn thing. It's not working right. There we go. I was wondering what the hell that damn thing was. It was the package of my rice cakes. It was just driving me crazy. I mean, it's like this little thing over here saying, pay attention to me because I'm irritating over here. Not the major portion about Khalil and his major power. No, this little thing has got to be getting my attention over here. But if it started glowing red, am I going to have to go, rice cakes, rice cakes, rice cakes. Oh my goodness, rice cakes. Oh my rice cakes, it's rice cakes. I'm going to be tripping out over the theological event of an existence here. That rice cakes will be replacing Donald Trump. And that I must worship. I must worship rice cakes. I must worship the apple cinnamon gluten-free signature select rice cakes. Don't you understand? Daryl, it's rice cakes. I am going to worship rice cakes, rice cakes, rice cakes. Whew. But I'm supposed to be Christian. Wait a second, Daryl. Let's get into another video on this one here.